Hi, this is Paul Harris with Aurora Multimedia, and I'm here at InfoComm 2024 to present the ReAX room. So what the ReAX room is and what's different is, if you think about it, for the past 30 years you've been doing control systems the same way. You take a 8 or a 10-inch panel, you throw it onto a table, and then you control the room, and the customer goes, wow, look at how much I spent to be an expensive remote control toy. So what we did was we solved all the problems of the conference room and gave a usability to each station. So the way it works is this 4-inch touch panel is not just a control system. It is a full angular beamforming Dante AES67 microphone that can also play back audio. So on the back of it, it has a speaker built into it as well, and it's full bi-directional. So the concept is you're going to put one of these by each seating location. You could use one to share between two, or you could do a huddle room with one and do a full 360 beamform up to 10 feet away, or you could control the envelope and do it within 2 or 3 feet, so that way you can narrow down how you're capturing the audio. So in essence, what you're doing is you are creating at the table level a full beamforming microphone as well as a full speaker array across the entire table. And that gives you also the ability to do a mix minus on the larger table, so your voice can be lifted across the table. So now that I've told you conceptually what the product is, let's go through the motions of how it's going to work in real time. So what's going to happen is you can book the room with our booking application. Once you do that, you can then put seating locations. In this case, they made me Raul Harris instead of Paul Harris. That came from ISC when they wanted to give me a Spanish name, so there you go. I am now Raul Harris instead. But that aside, what happens is you now have seating locations. One of the awkward things when you first walk into a conference room is, where do I sit? Well, now you know exactly where you're going to sit, whether you like it or not. Now, once you sit there, maybe you're hard of hearing or you speak a different language. Well, every one of these units has Bluetooth LE in it, as well as a tip ring sleeve built into it as well. You can have the audio go back and be amplified into your ear, or change the sound on it as well to be like a Japanese or Spanish or some other language. You can also link up your Bluetooth to it and do a hearing aid with it or so forth. Now, if you want to take it one step further, I could take my phone with the NFC built into it, touch it to it, transfer the control to my phone, and then with my Bluetooth headset, I can now walk around and link to the unit that I was sitting in front of and have my audio from my headset transfer into the system for the voice lift, or to go to the far end for the units themselves. Now, the other thing to just, everybody loves to ask us, well, how big can you make it? You can make it thousands of units. It's only limited by how big your network switch is, as well as how big your DSP that is supporting it for the amount of channels that it is supporting. Okay, so now, let's say now that you're settled in the room, I want to vote on something. Well, we got voting built into it. So you can go to voting, yes, no, A, B, C, D. It'll store it in a database, so it has full voting capabilities. Now, the next most awkward thing that happens when you are in a room, and it's the most awkward, is when do I interrupt somebody? When do I raise my hand or do whatever it is that I do? So you put a raise your hand button on here. And now what it will do is you can control these LEDs on the front and the back. You can make it blink if you want. You could tell all the other panels that so-and-so has the floor next, and if you want to, you can even program it to limit how long they actually do that for. So you can cut them off automatically after 2 minutes, let's just say. So this is fully configurable. This is just an example that we give out for free as a starting point, but you can make this look or feel any way you want with our development tools, because it is a full-blown control system. Now, to give you an idea of how powerful this thing is, this is a 6-core, 2 gigahertz processor with an 800 megahertz DSP in it, with a 4-top NPU with 8 gigs of DDR4 RAM and 32 gigs of flash. So in other words, this thing's a pretty big badass on this one, okay? So for a little tiny package, doing it. Now, if you can see the other side of the camera, I just saw her squint a little bit, yeah, because I said a word that I probably maybe should not have said, but I just don't care at this point, because that's what it is. Anyway, getting back to the thing here, we took it one step further. We have another version that we put in our AV over IP. So yes, this little tiny thing has a 4K 60 444 AV over IP that you can feed it in through the USB-C or the HDMI input. You could backfeed up to 100 watts that will come out here and charge the laptop, and you can have an output port for DisplayPort for a secondary larger monitor if you'd like to do that as well. Now, once this feeds into the system, and in this example here with the PC, it will backfeed into the unit, and that's what you're seeing on here in perfect image quality. It is transmitting it to the decoder box that's behind the display. So it becomes part of the ecosystem. That means every single seating location can be made to have a click share type like application here, except the only difference is there's no latency, it's perfect image quality, higher resolution, and it's instantaneous switching. So then you can use it with our ecosystem to have wall plates and things of that nature, since we're the only people who make transceiver wall plates. So it falls now into our ecosystem of all our VPX. Now, everything you see here works off a PoE, including our PC, is PoE++ PC with dual monitor outputs and a 2.4 gig LAN port and a 1 gig LAN port, and it also has a front display to show you what you're doing. It has an HDMI input capture on it as well. Yep, this is all a mouthful, so you have to rewind, listen to it all over again as I'm talking this, because I talk really fast, but we got to make these videos fast. Now, I also developed a BX25 woofer amplifier. We call it the Bass Expander. This is also PoE+, Dante AS67. It is designed to mount under the table with these brackets, has a rubber to isolate the vibration from the table, and that will further, it's made to drop also, I did that on purpose, but it is made to add an additional bass level on the unit itself, so it goes underneath the table since you don't really need to expose bass. Now, so what does it sound like? Well, you're not really going to find out because you are on video and I am here, but I'll play it just so that you hear something on the other end, but you really got to hear it in person. So in this case, we got a thing. I have only 4 of these units fired up right now. For those of you who know Freaks, that's what it's playing right now. So it's about to come up. So that right now is more of the high end coming from 4 of these units, and then the bass speaker is about to kick in to show the power of the bass, which once again, you can only hear what you hear on your own personal things and their ability to record off this iPhone that I'm staring at. There we go, come on. You get the idea. So it has great sounding music. It sounds better than a soundbar. And if you think about it, soundbars just are not the best thing because it projects the audio across the room and it has to pull it from the back of the room. This gives everybody an equal sound. So not it can only outperform speaker bars and ceiling speakers, but physics don't lie. If it's in front of you, is the best place for it to be. So now you can lower the volume in the room, creates a better security blanket because it's not coupling to walls like speakers normally do and projecting their volume, and you got the microphone close to you rather than further away. And once works better, closer mic, as I've said. So this is the ReAX room. Yeah, we got a best of show already for this concept, and also this won an award as well. That is the ReAX room. You can find out more information about this at auroramm.com, and thank you very much for listening to this.